Hi, I'm Paul Kyogan from GK Tuition, and in this video I want to talk to you about algebra. Now the question I'm going through here is 2017 paper 1 question 9. In the first part of this question we're told that a person's height can be estimated by taking into account the length of their femur. We're told that x represents the length of a person's femur, m of x represents the height of the corresponding male, while f of x represents the height of the corresponding female. We're asked to find the height of a male and the height of a female whose femur is 47.54 centimeters. So it's relatively straightforward. It just means sub in x equals 47.54. So on the left hand side here, I've subbed into the formula they gave me for the height of a male, except instead of an x, I've subbed in 47.54. And if you plug all of that into your calculator, you end up with 174.87 centimeters. Notice it asked you to leave your answer to 2 decimal places, so your final answer there is that's the height of the male. On the other hand, the formula for the female is slightly different. It's 2.5 times x plus 54.13. So if a female has a femur of 47.54 centimeters, we just plug it into the formula, and the height of the female is going to be 172.98 centimeters. So you get full marks for both of those. Okay, in the second part of this question, we're asked to use the formula for m of x to estimate the length of a femur of a male whose height is 184 centimeters. In other words, they're telling you m of x, the height of the male in question, is 184. Work out the value of x. So all we have to do is, instead of m of x, we sub in 184. Our next goal is to try and isolate x on one side of the equation. So I want to eliminate the 65.53 from the right hand side. And in order to do that, you have to subtract 65.53 from both sides. So you end up with 184 minus 65.53 equals 2.3x. If you plug this into your calculator, you get 118.47. In order to isolate x here, I need to divide both sides by 2.3. If you divide the right hand side by 2.3, you get x. And if you divide the left hand side by 2.3, you get this fraction. If you plug that into your calculator, your final answer to 2 decimal places is x is equal to 51.51 centimeters. If a male has a height of 184 centimeters, I would expect his femur to be 51.51 centimeters long. Okay, in part C, we're told that Connor's femur is 44.2 centimeters and that his height is 171 centimeters. And to use this information to work out the percentage error in the formula that we've been using comparing femur to height. So obviously you need to realize that the formula we're using here is only an estimate. Like not all human beings are the same proportions. Some people have relatively long legs, some people have relatively short legs. So this is just an estimate that most humans fall roughly in this bracket. So in the case of Connor, we need to work out the percentage error in using this formula. So the first thing we can do is, bearing in mind that his femur is 44.2 centimeters, we can work out what we would have estimated his height to be. If they had told us that his femur was 44.2, we would have plugged it into this formula and his height would have worked out as 176.19 centimeters. However, that's our estimate. However, we've been told that he actually is 171 centimeters. So we need to work out the percentage error in the formula we've just used. Before we can work out the percentage error, we need to first work out what the actual error was. To work out the error, it's his actual height minus our estimated height. If we get the difference between our estimate and the actual height, it works out as 3.81. So our formula, we're off by 3.81 centimeters. Now that we know the error involved, we can work out the percentage error. The percentage error can be calculated as the error divided by the true value multiplied by 100 over 1. In this case, the error is 3.81, the true value is 171. If you multiply that by 100 over 1, it asks me to leave my answer to 2 decimal places, so your final answer works out as 2.23%. This estimate, it just happens to be off by about 2.23% in Connor's case. In part D, we're told that there's a length of a femur for which the estimated height of a male and the estimated height of a female will be the same. We're asked to work out what is the length of this femur and what is the estimated height. In other words, there's a certain length for your femur for which I would estimate a male and a female to be the same height. So I need to work out what height is that and what is the length of the femur. You need to realize that m of x is the formula that describes the height of a male. F of x is the formula that describes the height of a female. We're being told that they're equal to each other. So all we need to do is let the height of a male equal to the height of a female and find the value of x. The height of a male is 2.3x plus 65.53. The height of a female is 2.5x plus 54.13. Now I've got a relatively basic linear equation. I can simplify this and find the value of x. What I've done is brought all my numbers to the left, all the x's to the right. In other words, I had a plus 54.13 on the right, and I subtracted 54.13 from both sides so that I was left with this on the left. I had a plus 2.3x on the left, and I subtracted minus 2.3x from both sides, and I ended up with this. So I ended up with 2.5x minus 2.3x. If you add the numbers on the left, you get 11.4. And if you add the numbers on the right, you get 0.2x. Now at this point, in order to get x on its own, you just divide both sides by 0.2. In which case you get x is equal to 11.4 divided by 0.2. If you plug that into your calculator, you get x equals 57 centimeters. So that's the answer for the first part. That's the length of the femur. If a male has a femur of 57 centimeters and a female has a femur of 57 centimeters, I would estimate that they will be the same height. So that's the first answer. But now I need to work out what is the height of each of these individuals. Now remember, they're the same height, so it doesn't actually matter whether you sub into the formula for f of x or the formula for m of x. You're going to get the same answer either way. So what I did then was I subbed into the formula for f of x. And I worked out that if a female has a femur of 57 centimeters, the height would be 2.5 by 57 by 54.13. And if you plug all that into your calculator, you get that this female has a height of 196.63 centimeters. So the male and female in question here, each has a femur of 57 centimeters long, and each is 196.63 centimeters tall. In part E of this question, we're introduced to the ponderal index. We're told that the ponderal index relates a person's weight in kilograms to their height in meters. We're told in E part 1, we're told that a person's height is 1.6 meters and that their weight is 72.5 kilograms. If that's the case, we're asked to work out what is P, their ponderal index. So basically it just means instead of M you sub in 72.5, instead of H you sub in 1.6 to the power of 3, and you just plug it into your calculator. It asked you to get this to one decimal place, so your answer here is going to be 17.7. In E part 2, we're asked to rearrange the formula P equals M over H cubed so that we get H in terms of M and P. Or in other words, H in terms of the weight and in terms of the ponderal index. So if to start from here, and with each step you just want to simplify it a little bit. You should look at the first line and realize that the immediate complication here is the fraction. In order to eliminate this fraction, you need to multiply both sides by H cubed. If you multiply the left by H cubed, you get P times H cubed. And if you multiply the right by H cubed, the fraction is gone and you're just left with M. At this point, you need to realize that your goal is to isolate H. In order to isolate the H, or in other words, to get rid of the P on the left-hand side, you need to divide both sides by P. If you divide the left-hand side by P, you just get H cubed. And if you divide the right-hand side by P, you get M over P. Now we have H cubed in terms of M and P, but we don't want H cubes, and we don't want H cubed, we want just H. In order to eliminate a cubed, you have to get the cubic root of both sides. If you get the cubic root of the left-hand side, you're just left with H, and the right-hand side, you have to rewrite it as the cubic root of M over P. So your final answer there, that H is equal to the cubic root of M over P. In the final part of this question, E part 3, we're told that Mary has a ponderal index of 13 and that she has a weight of 67.5. Use this information to find her height. Now the easiest way to do this is to actually use the formula we have from E part 2. In E part 2, I worked out that the height is equal to the cubic root of the weight over the ponderal index. I know that M is 67.5, I know that P is equal to 13, so you can just plug all that into your calculator. And it asked you to leave your answer to 2 decimal places, so Mary's height must be 1.73 meters. Now I hope all of this video makes sense. If there's anything there you're unsure of, or you'd like me to clarify something, just let me know in class or send me an email and I'll explain it differently.